on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling? It is Saturday again. We got another awesome show lined up. Shout out to everybody watching live, everybody in the chat already kicking it live. Shout out to Shone Sue, Blue. We got Lore Master Jasper. Everybody else in here hanging out, man. If I missed you, I do apologize. I'll make sure I drop in the chat and say hello to everybody personally. So you know what we doing here, man. We got an awesome show lined up. It's been a jam-packed week. We're going to get to the topics, but we always got to show love to the guests because they take their time out to hang out with us on the show. So first and foremost, he is not here yet, but I'm going to do this without him. Whether he's here or not, I plan to do it anyway. I do want to give a huge happy birthday shout out to Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, our panel member here. He'll be coming in hot here. Shout out to Spooky. I believe they're still doing the podcast. So everybody in chat, say happy birthday to Fuzzy Belvedere. It's his birthday today, man. Shout out to him. I'm sure he's going to pop in here soon. But let's go ahead and get directly to our guest. We got a lot to talk about. So coming all the way from Western Australia, a woman of she wears many hats, huge in the gaming community, a streamer, content creator in general, influencer, whatever you want to call it, whatever tag you want to put on it. Shout out to Doomy and or Doom Cutie for hanging out with us. We're going to be talking a lot of games, but I want to make sure she lets you guys know where everybody can find her out. But shout out to you for hanging out with us, Doomy.
Hey, thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here. Where you can find me? Well, I'm all over Twitter, Twitch. You can, if you look me up anyway, you can find all of my links. So just search Doom Cutie and you will find me. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Thank you. And appreciate it. Once again, that time difference is gigantic. So appreciate you for hanging out with us here. Just kicking it with us, just taking your time, throughout your day to kick it with us. So thank you. We're going to have a great show lined up. Once again, I know we got Fuzz coming in hot here at some point in time. We're going to throw this over to Mr.
I want to sing happy birthday.
Go ahead. Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he'll be here as soon as he gets here. We'll get to the festivities. We'll start blowing out the candles, all that good stuff. But shout out to you. Fuzz will be here at some point in time. Once again, chat, you guys got to make sure you guys say happy birthday to Fuzz in chat, whether or not he's here. I do want him to see it. If he doesn't show, eventually he'll watch it, but I'm sure he'll be here. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong Soul, Pong Harvey. How are you doing, brother? Jam-packed week. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it is starting to get live again, PTK. We had a couple of slow weeks of news, got a bunch of stuff going on this week. We had another showcase this week. You don't have it in the notes, but the Nacon showcase showed up out of the blue, and it was absolutely fantastic. It probably would have been my third favorite show had it been during E3, not E3 week. There was a lot of great games showing. So we're getting cool stuff like that. More games dropping over the next 12 months, which is absolutely insane. But it's fantastic to be here, obviously. Saturday night is everything I look forward to end my weekend with you guys, of course. And I can't wait till Birthday Boy gets here. But Doom Cutie, Doomy, it is absolutely awesome to be on a podcast with you. I have been listening to you over on the Infinite podcast with Risket and the boys over there. And listen, I love the different type of flavor you brought to those crazy lads over there. So it is awesome to hear you and to be on a show with you because your thoughts come with a different perspective. And I really enjoy that. That's part of podcasting. And shout out to PTK for getting you to come join us tonight. So thank you so much for being here, Doom Cutie. But yeah, PTK, we got a lot to talk about. It was a short week for me. I took an extra day off after the 4th, but it was still a jam-packed week of work after that point. I put a lot of hours in, but been playing some games a little bit here and there. And we got a surprise this week in Solasta. And this is another one of those PC games, PTK, that I never thought would show up on console. And yet here it is. The golden age is alive, my friend. D&D, turn-based classic CRPG style based upon the 5th edition D&D rules. Listen, I've barely started scratching the surface of the gameplay because the character creation is so much fun. But yeah, I've been diving into that a little bit, but otherwise, of course, NBA 2K22 and all that good stuff. But we do have a lot of good topics tonight, PTK, and I'm sure the chat is going to have some amazing questions. So let's get down to business, please, sir.
Oh, yeah. We're going to jump right into it. Shout out to Chat. You guys always coming in here kicking it, man, getting things started with a good energy. Shout out to Shonsu for making things all clean and clear in here, being a great mod. That he is. General Spartan, Ray Oid, everybody hanging out. Bacon Life, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for joining us today, man. Let's dive into the topics. You guys know what we do here at the Shop Podcast. By the way, please do me a favor. If you're a fan of the show, go subscribe, go follow Doom Cutie and or Doomy on Twitter, Twitch, everywhere. She has a link tree. I believe I put that below. So that's going to give you kind of one place to go to find all of her socials. So please go do that. Once again, shout out to her for hanging out with us this evening or this morning where she's at. So let's go ahead and get started, man. You guys know how we start the show. Poll of the week every single week. Follow me on Twitter. That's where it's at on Monday. Go vote. Shout out to almost 300 people voted this past week. Appreciate everybody. If you want to be a part of that, follow me on Twitter. Do it every single Monday. We talk about it here on Saturday at the Shop Podcast. So this week's was kind of fun. It wasn't really surprising, but it was a really, really fun topic. It's something we've talked about here, but I always like to revisit some of these polls because obviously games come out, people's opinion change, things like that. So we been thinking a lot about Xbox and their game lineup. What would you say is the biggest hole in their catalog? So I had some options. There's a lot of choices, but I broke it down to the ones I thought were the most important. We got family game, superhero game, JRPG, or fighting game. Very fairly close. Superhero game pulled it out. That's what I thought was going to win. Superhero game, I figured people would think that was I don't say biggest hole, but that was something that Xbox would need over the other options that I presented. So we're going to throw this to you, Doomy, out of the frying pan into the fire. So you'll get the show started today. What would your choice be out of those options, or maybe you had a different option?
Look, out of those ones, I thought that a specific hero, the superhero games.
Okay.
I think there's a massive, a massive blank there. Obviously, Sony has been very successful with obviously the Spider-Man franchise, and I think if we could get something like really cool. Like I would love to see like a Hulk game. I would love to just I don't know who owns the rights to that, but I think a Hulk game would be a banger on Xbox. And Hulk's green, Xbox is green. It makes sense, right?
Awesome. I like that train of thought. Hulk would be interesting. Do you remember the last Hulk game, Pong?
Yeah, that was 360, I believe. Yes, that would be the last one that I can remember offhand. Maybe Chad will correct me, but I think 360 is the last one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I love that idea. I'm with you, Doomy, on that one because once again, we've talked about this and it's kind of a slippery slope, right? Because on one hand, you're like, hey, Xbox, they have their own identity. You want them to do different things. But on the other hand, superhero does make sense for the catalog, right? Just to have a variety, and it's something that would, kind of be a feather in the cap if you want to round out that like catalog. It'd be just nice to have. So I understand the argument for everybody like, hey, they absolutely need this type of game. So I was not surprised at all when it actually won the polls. We're gonna throw this over to you, Pong. I'm curious to see where you're at with this. Well, we've talked about this a couple times, but it's always cool to revisit it as more games come out, as we get information, rumors. We visit Speculation Town every single week here at the Shop Podcast. We got a year-round pass. We never really leave, right, Pong? In actuality.
No, we don't. No. Yeah. Especially when I'm one of the.
You just live here.
That's correct. That's the best place to live, Doomy. I'm telling you. And I'm one of the mayors, one of the co-mayors of Speculation Town. So we're on tour all the time. We're good. You can go anywhere. Anytime you want to visit Speculation, you're welcome. So just come on in and sit down, enjoy the rainbows, the unicorns, sunshine, 75 degrees. It's beautiful here. So, listen, this was first of all, let's point out the fact that you're on a streak here, PTK. Another great poll in which I don't have to edit or correct or disparage. Okay,
that's
so
2 in a row, I think.
We might be on 3 at this point, I think. So nice job there. This is an interesting one, PTK, because had you asked me this just 6 months ago, I probably would have gone with JRPGs. But okay. Well, you know me. I've been pounding the table for JRPGs, but now with the announcements of Persona, and we got Soul Hackers 2 coming from Atlas, and we've got Star Ocean showing up. We've got Diofield Chronicles coming from Square Enix later this year. Listen, JRPGs are getting taken care of. There's still a lot to do there, but they are doing a fantastic job. So that one's out the window, right? I think the two most prominent ones here are the family games and the superhero games. And I think that, you could make an argument for the family games. We just got Peppa the Pig coming in, game of the
Hey,
year,
game of the
coming
year.
into game
Oh
of the year.
Easy
yeah.
clap. Very easy clap. Sorry, Elden Ring.
Yeah, so
Live
that's coming
long.
in. That's right. That's right. And then we got Paw Patrol as well. So, they are making moves in the family game genre, but I still think that there's more to do there. We've talked about it here before, PTK. Obviously, with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, we might see some more of those family games. We could see a resurgence of Spyro and things like that once that does go through.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the majority got it right this time, and I think the superhero genre, and this is not for anybody out there who always falls back on, oh, you just want Xbox to be like PlayStation. This is garbage. Listen, I'm not saying they need a superhero game, but I'm saying that it is a hole that they should fill. And I think that it is an important one because of how see how important it is to drive sales when you have an well-established, well-known IP from one of the big universes such as Marvel. And I think that people underestimate what that means. And no, I don't want them to just copycat what Sony has done over there with the Marvel IP. I would like one of the studios from Microsoft, Xbox, to put their own spin on one of these Marvel universes, right? And or whatever, DC universes or whatever the case may be. Doomy brought up a great one. Hulk would be fantastic. I've said get the X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be amazing. And there's some studios over there that could do a lot with Hulk, right? I've been on the train because X-Men are now going to be introduced into the MCU. You get the X-Men IP because it writes itself.
Ooh, yes.
X-Men on Xbox. It's the perfect marketing time. So because they are introducing them, so they're going to be coming on strong. And I think that you could bring back a lot of different styles of gameplay with the X-Men that we haven't seen in a while from a superhero game. So I'd love to see that one. Otherwise, Blade, Spawn, any of these big IP that have been underutilized, I think would be perfect on Xbox. Punisher, my God, think about the first person. You don't even have to do first person, do third person shooters with one of those characters. Or Blade. Vampires are becoming in vogue again now.
Yeah.
After now that we're done with the zombie kind of, well, it will never be done with zombies, but they've kind of played out. So vampires are next, obviously. Vampires and werewolves are next, right? So that's the line. That's how we do this. So that would be perfect as well. I just think a big IP superhero game on Xbox is probably the biggest kind of glaring, spot that is missing right now from that lineup. That's my opinion.
No, look, listen. Like I said, I think they got it right this time too. I absolutely think chat got it right or not chat, but I absolutely think the people got it right this time as well. So we got birthday boy slid in here once again. Chat, don't forget. Shout out to Fuzz, just dropped in here, coming in hot. I can see the smoke coming off your boots. But shout out to you, man. But once again, chat, everybody let Fuzzy know happy birthday, man. I appreciate you, Fuzz. And, I don't know if Pong has anything to say, but we appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming in, hanging out with us, man.
I guess happy birthday, Fuzz. Whatever, man. That's cool. Why is it got to be always about Fuzzy? Why does Fuzzy get all the shine here? Here we go.
Dude, this is every week. You don't mind Pong at all.
Nah, happy birthday, Fuzz, man. Great to have you on here, brother. I can't believe you're podcasting on your birthday, but I did the same, so whatever.
It's fun. This whole gaming community is awesome, and just talking about games. I mean, it's either talking about them or playing them, and that's pretty much what I did for my birthday. I just figure it'd be like a day off type of thing, but had some awesome food earlier today. Kids ordered Five Guys for me for lunch and stuff, and got some dinner downstairs. Actually, I ate most of that before podcasting and stuff, but the extra presents and stuff come later. But man, it's awesome. Level 47. Woohoo!
Awesome, man.
Oh,
Awesome.
happy
We appreciate
birthday.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we're right smack dab in the middle of this conversation, man, about the poll of the week. So I don't know which one you voted on in particular, but we all three of us thus far have figured that the actual poll, was pretty much dead on this week as far as it being, superhero. That's the biggest hole that we think that they can fill. Not necessarily saying that they need that, but it's a huge feather in the cap to be able to get that. And shout out to Ray in the chat. He did mention Deadpool. Deadpool is going to be a not first party game, but they have the studio once this Activision deal goes through that actually made the Deadpool game. So that's something that we could see as well too. Deadpool is extremely popular, as far as Marvel goes as well. So would that be very, very interesting if they can get that done? I think we brought that up before, I believe, on the show. But Fuzz, let's go ahead and get your opinion here before we move on about poll of the week, man.
I mean, it was a tough choice as far as all of them are, there are some missing aspects as far as within the Xbox ecosystem. I mean, they do have a fighting game, but they probably should, revisit that again. They've had some family games in the catalog prior, but they should probably revisit that as well. Although they do get a lot of the third-party family games and like Game Pass and stuff. But JRPGs, they're slowly working their way as far as getting more of those on the platform as well. But I think a superhero game is probably the only one we really haven't seen. Like I don't know if you want to consider Quantum Break kind of like its own superhero with time travel in a way, but and there's what's the one that Activision has? That was it
Prototype.
Yeah.
So if they can't get like an official licensed superhero out there from Marvel or DC or something like that, even working on one of their own, which I guess they'll own the Prototype, IP, hopefully here in the next couple of months. I mean, they definitely should fill that gap. And it's not that it's a have to have, but it would be a nice thing to kind of round out the overall offerings and stuff, and attract more people to the platform. But superhero, I that was the one I picked. It was like almost like eeny meeny miny mo for a while, but I was like, superhero is the only one that I haven't seen on its platform as a first party, yet. So, or at least since I've been part of Xbox since 2014. So
yeah. And Doomy brought up a fantastic option. She said Hulk, and Hulk would be very interesting. She figured obviously green, that makes sense. And Pong as well, he brought up the X-Men since they're reintroducing them and they're going to be part of the Marvel universe. That will be big for Xbox. He said X-Men on Xbox. Once again, that just makes sense. It kind of just writes itself essentially. So those are some great damn options. We've talked about that before here on the Shop Podcast, and it's always cool to revisit, come back to this, see where everybody is at, because that can change. Like Pong, you said it earlier that you would have picked JRPGs like 3, 4, 5 months ago, but they seem to be working in that direction, and that seems to be coming along. So that kind of changed your opinion. And I think we actually talked about this about that long ago, probably maybe 5, 6 months ago. This came up as well. So once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about the poll of the week, man. We're just greasing the wheels here. Obviously, the show is just starting. Shout out to everybody. Ashtray, shout out to you, brother. Mav, I saw you in here as well. Shout out to you. Everybody hanging out, man. Thank you guys for joining us. So we're moving on to the next topic, and this is the first big topic of the week. Obviously, we get into the meat and potatoes of the Shop Podcast. So going to be talking about this Ubisoft Forward event that was announced this week. I believe it is coming, the date is September 10th. So they said there's going to be some reveals, a lot of different stuff shown there. I generally kind of want to get everybody's opinion on, one, where you at with the showcase? Two, where you at with Ubi overall? Because, I mean, they've been – I think I'll get to my opinion last year, but I think I voiced that a couple of times. I put out a tweet maybe today or yesterday about it, and it kind of sums up how I feel about the situation. But we'll start with our guest of the hour. Once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about this Ubisoft Forward event. What do you expect? What do you want to see? How do you feel about Ubi in general? We're going to start with you, Doom. One, did you hear about the news? Two, what are your expectations?
Yeah, I did. Look, Ubisoft, I think, is I have a lot of mixed feelings about them moving forward. I was very disenchanted with the Skull and Bones release. I mentioned that on the Xbox Infinite podcast yesterday. I did not like how that game looked at all. The fact that game was, in 9 years in production, all that stuff. And anyway, so if you want to hear me rabbit on about that, you can go over and rewatch it. But I am expecting to see stuff from Avatar.
Yes,
I am expecting them to. Yeah, I'm expecting them to talk more about God of War, and then possibly talk about Forsaken's delay. I don't know. Is there Assassin's Creed? Am I getting
Yeah,
that right?
there's 2 new Assassin's Creeds in development right now that
Yeah,
we know
right.
of. Yeah. So there's a single
Yeah,
player
so
one, and then there's like an open. It's supposedly going to be more open world, maybe kind of multiplayer esque type game, MMO almost, but games as a servicey. But they're supposed to have a single player one in the works as well. So
right, right. Yeah, look, I mean, I think I'm not excited, but I'm not like, man, I don't want to see it. So like, I'll still watch it, but I think that I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're going to be leaning heavily into God of War and Avatar.
Well, God of War is going to be at the. Well, I don't know. I don't think that is. I don't. But okay. Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. And just where you at on this event, the Ubisoft event. Like, what do you expect to see? Once again, I'm gonna throw this back to you real quick, Doom, if you don't mind, because it sounded
Yeah.
like you're generally jaded with Ubi in general, and that's kind of where I'm at with Ubisoft. Just what they've done to the Division. I'm a huge Division fan. Me and Fuzz, that's kind of our thing. We probably both between us got, I don't know how many hours, Fuzz.
It's more like days or weeks now.
Yeah, at this current point in time, we're on a whole different, but just where you at with Ubi overall? Like, is it just did you enjoy the last Assassin's Creed, I believe, which was Valhalla?
Yeah, I think the last Assassin's Creed was very successful. But I think you are right. The way that they handled and everything to do with the Division, I think they've really let a lot of the community down with that.
Okay. Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that because I know I'm on the end of that. Like I'm definitely on the end of that. Me and Fuzz feel the same way. And Pong asked me before the show, how dare you ask me this anyway about this damn game, this mobile game that's coming out. I ought to throw my shoe at you. This is ridiculous, man. Don't ask me before the show how I feel about it. Chat,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
What you mean? What do I mean?
What? I thought for sure you and Fuzzy put another 1,000 hours in on your phones on Division Mobile. I thought that's where you guys would be, man. I was just finding out, Come on.
Come on. Can't do that to me,
That's
man.
definitely content they should have put into the game.
No, I don't think just sitting on your phone on the app counts as actually hours into the game, just in case anyone wasn't aware.
That's what Fuzzy's gonna do. He's just gonna stay logged in on his phone all day and be like, yeah, look at all my hours. Look at all my hours. Yeah, I'm a true Division fan. Look at me.
Yes.
That's what he's gonna do.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, I think this is going to be. I think it's going to be a good. Look, if they do it right, it'll be a great opportunity for them to make up, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have high expectations because I don't want to get disappointed. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No. Once again, it's interesting. Mobile is always kind of a right. Like it's kind of that's a like a gold mine essentially. If you hit right, you can do a lot of big things on mobile. Look at COD Mobile. It's huge. It's gigantic. So but yeah. So we're gonna throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on where you're at with Ubi, the Ubisoft Forward. Obviously, Skull and Bones. We're probably gonna see more of that. Obviously Avatar, as Doomy mentioned, that's probably going to be shown as well. But man, Ubi, we've talked about Ubi plenty of times, and I went from Ubi is kind of going where they need to go, and I always give these developers a lot of like wiggle room. I'm not the one to complain, right? Like that's typically not what I do, but Ubi is just they're just squandering. They have everything they need in front of them, and they continue to just reach for other things and just say, let's do. So I mean, where are you at on this, man?
All right, so just to touch on Skull and Bones aspect first, like it didn't seem all that bad. Like it's not exactly what they had showed us like back in 2018, which is fine. The game has progressed in a way that may not be exactly what I was looking for, but it still definitely looks like it's going to be some fun. But the one thing I'm not a fan of is the $70 price tag of it. But I think I can wait for a sale. Like it just seems like Ubisoft games tend to drop in price a good bit after a short period of time. So
that thing's going to be half price on Black Friday. I'm telling you, Fuzz. I said it last night.
A month and a half.
3 weeks.
That's 3 weeks. Slight against Ubi though. That's typical Ubi. It doesn't matter how successful the game is. Ubisoft games go on sale extremely fast.
Yeah.
So we're not even. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that I'll just hold out a little bit longer and wait for that sale, because there's been times where I've bought like Watch Dogs day and date and paid the $100 version because I wanted all the DLC, and then by the time I actually get to play it, it's like half that price, and I kind of feel like a knucklehead at that point. But it is what it is. But the mobile game, all right, so Ubisoft sees, Diablo and other games making, millions and millions of dollars, and they're still chasing this mobile aspect, which, I hope they find an audience for it. I'm just not that one. I mean, I might give it a try to see what it's like, as it is Division, but I don't think it's going to jump off the page or anything like that for me, because they've had those other like Tom Clancy related mobile games. It was like, y'all put time into this when you could have added that as content to the games you have already. But I'll leave the mobile game alone until I get hands on it, type thing. But it's a bit disappointing, considering that they got a ghost team. Well, I won't say a ghost team, but like a ghost crew or a skeleton crew working on the Division now, which they could make all of that bread and butter. Just keep on releasing seasons, keep on coming up with cool cosmetics, not trash bags wrapped in tape, and you'll get my money for the cosmetics at least. So, but far as the,
do you think with I don't know what the demographics are with the age of players for the Division 2, but do you think maybe they're barking up the wrong tree? Like, because perhaps Division players are a little bit more mature, and
yeah,
maybe they don't game on their phones, like some younger Call of Duty players. So do you think they're chasing a demographic that they can't get?
I think they are, and they're probably using the wrong IP to do it. Like, okay, I
Yeah,
understand they want to have that phone game, and it seems like they've kind of run, Ghost Recon into the ground to some extent. Like, Wildlands was great. Breakpoint had its ups and downs. It was kind of rough in the beginning. They smoothed it out, and then I think they kind of shook it up even more later on.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
gave
like,
us NFTs, Fuzzy. They gave us
my
NFTs. Yes.
Jesus Christ.
That
So-
brought everybody back. It was a fantastic idea.
so maybe that one, since they've kind of burnt that bridge to some extent, maybe try that IP for the mobile game or something. I don't know. Like, just leave the Division alone. Well, and actually, better point, just leave anything Tom Clancy alone, because Tom Clancy fans in general are the type that want the more realistic stuff, and you can't get the realistic stuff on
But the
mobile as
Division was
much.
a perfect balance between the
The
realistic,
fantasy, yeah.
the fantasy, and that realism.
Yeah, and yeah, but not as a. I don't think it works as mobile though. But that's
No, I don't.
it's just it just seems like they are chasing the trends. They see what Call of Duty is doing. They see what PUBG is doing, and they're like, we could do it. And I mean, they had what would have been the perfect battle royale map in Wildlands. Like, all they had to do was open that thing up and have it where you could do battle royale on that map. For maybe they couldn't handle 100 players, try it with 40 players. I mean, it is a big map, but they it seems like they're trying the wrong things when they have pretty much a airtight formula in front of them, and they just keep ignoring it. But Avatar, it's made by my favorite Ubisoft team, Massive, so I'm hoping that one winds up being, at least it grabs my attention type of thing. Like, I'm not like I like the movie, the first one. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the game though, considering like if they're going to make it Assassin's Creed like as far as the open world aspect, maybe not. Or if they have it flooded with a whole bunch of tasks and beacon spots, maybe I'll lose interest like I did with Valhalla to some extent. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Also hearing that was it the was it Beyond Good and Evil or something like that might make an appearance as well, or it's getting into
Wow.
a technical test. So hopefully that game doesn't get stuck in development hell like Skull and Bones was. But I look forward to their Ubisoft Forward in September, but I don't know. I think the biggest things I have hope for is Avatar and the Star Wars game at this point, just because it's massive that's working on those IPs. So we'll
Okay.
see.
All right, and I got a question for Pong here too, as well. You think we're gonna get anything? And I shout out to chat as well because they have been bringing it up consistently. Shout out to you, Ray Oy. He said, just about Ubisoft Premium or Ubisoft Plus, maybe making a debut on Xbox. Anything? You think that's in play, maybe, or just have you thought about that at all?
No, I think that's going to be more on I don't think they'll do that on the Ubisoft showcase. I think that would be more of a joint announcement again. I mean, they already did the blog post, so we know it's coming, right? But I think that'll be on an Xbox type of announcement, maybe with some, backup from Ubisoft, maybe some quotes from some of Ubisoft, whatever else talking about it. But I don't think that would make this showcase unless it's a bigger deal, unless they've got it squeezed into Xbox or into Game Pass Ultimate without any cost. Then I could see that being a big kind of deal for Ubisoft. Like, hey, go enjoy all these games, because they're going to be getting a cut of that, right? If that works out that way, they'll be getting a cut. So that would be a huge kind of moment for them if they got it in there. But I think otherwise, I think it's going to be an Xbox press release at some point announcing the deal and announcing specifics on it. Ubisoft is in a really unique spot for them right now. They have a ton in development, right? A ton. Some of it we know about, some of it we've seen, but a lot of it we haven't. And they've been quiet for quite a while on some of this stuff, right? Some of this stuff they gave us glimpses. I mean, just think about it. So we just got Skull and Bones. We thought that was going to be vaporware at one point because of how many times it got rebooted. And then Ubisoft kept going, nope, it's coming, it's coming. And then all of a sudden it was like, nope, it's coming in 2022. And everybody's like, yeah, right. We haven't seen anything. Well, all of a sudden they have a spotlight show just for Skull and Bones, and here it all is. And not only do they show it off, but after the show, they did like 30, 40 minutes of straight gameplay with one of the devs and an interviewer showing off how the game actually plays if you're just playing it live on the servers, right? So this game obviously was further along than a lot of us ever believed. And again, some of us thought it was vaporware. We never see this. So they show us that, right? But then they've got Avatar, right? And we know Avatar's due out this year. The movie's coming around Christmas time. So this is going to be another 2022 release. If all things are on track, obviously they want it out right prior to the movie, right around the movie time. That makes the most sense when you have a licensed IP like that. So we can expect to definitely see a bunch of Avatar at this. And then we've got those Assassin's Creed games. And those Assassin's Creed games, again, there's two of them. Now, we heard rumors right before E3, if you remember, and the Twitter seemed pretty sure. Again, we know about Twitter rumors or whatever else, but there was some pretty solid evidence out there that their latest single player edition of Assassin's Creed is ready to be shown, and that's the one that's going to be set in Iraq, right? And so I think that one might be further along than we even know about because they've been quiet. I think the multiplayer one, the games as a service style open world one that they're kind of doing, with the multiplayer heavy aspect to it, I think that one might be a little bit later. I don't know how much we see on that or if we see it at all, maybe a teaser. But I think this new single player Assassin's Creed, because of how, again, if there's one thing, and I saw Focus in the chat say it, Ubisoft is probably, arguably, the most consistent publisher so far this gen. Okay, Ubisoft, for all their problems, for all the grief that we give them, and rightfully so on a lot of different fronts, they still are very consistent. They still have one of the biggest in-house development teams out of any publisher in the world right now. They have everything in-house, so they could definitely have another single-player Assassin's Creed game coming out, and then we got to get Heartland news for Division, not the mobile game, the new Division game, free to play, whatever it's going to be. Yeah. Heartland, we have to see it.
Yeah.
We have to see that. They got to be ready for that one too. That one's got to be coming as well. Then you got X Defiant, which went back under wraps after they showed it off, right? X Defiant is still sitting out there. That's something they're going to want to get out. And if they have rebranded it or if they've changed it a little bit, which if you look at the current advertising on the website, shout out to Fun Speculation Math, he pointed this out a while back after they showed it off and everybody went, what the hell are you guys doing? What is this crap? Then they took it back in, and all of a sudden they changed up a bunch of advertising on their website, which toned down that kind of, I don't even know what you want to call it, like extreme sports style, like Monster Energy drink style kind of flashiness that they had going on with that game. So they're going to want to re-show that and kind of gauge where people are at with that. And then you've got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Frontline, right? That Frontline game that, once again, they showed it off and everybody went, what are you guys doing here? Remember they were going to do remember they were going to do a beta? Remember that? They were going to do his beta sign up and then they said, nope, cancel that. We're not doing the beta anymore. We'll talk to you guys at a later date. Okay. So they've got those games, like those are deep in development kind of games, right? And then they've got to tease the Star Wars game, the second game from Massive. They have not teased it yet. It's been out there, but they have not given us any clue as to what it is. So that teaser's got to come. So I think that Ubisoft Showcase in September is going to be big. I think they definitely are going to bring a lot of stuff. I think it's going to be heavy on the Avatar, probably some more Skull and Bones stuff, obviously, since that was just announced. And then I think we'll get a couple surprises sprinkled in there with some showings from a couple of these games that have been in heavy development for a long time. And then throw it and then mix in a couple teasers for some of the other stuff that's a little bit further out. But this next year for Ubisoft, they legit probably could have 4 to 6 games out in the next year, if not more. So I think that that's good. Beyond Good and Evil, that's the interesting one.
Yeah.
People believe that one's going to be vaporware too, that's just been going on too long. But I think Ubisoft has pumped so much money into that development by this point. I think they're going to get it out. Yeah, like Skull and Bones, right? Like Skull and Bones. That's exactly what they're going to do. I think that I don't think we see anything at this showcase from it. I think that's next year, but possibly that might be a surprise in there. But yeah, Ubisoft has got a lot going on, PTK, a lot. And so I can't wait to see what they give us in this showcase. And I'm just going to point this out. The $70 price point is new price point going forward for all these games. So obviously, if they're going to charge $70 for Skull and Bones, they're going to charge $70 for Avatar, right? So we know that this is kind of the move that Ubisoft is making. And shout out again to Mav. He brought up a great point that could be to push the Ubisoft Plus subscription model to make it more of a value because they are putting it on everything. It's already on Stadia. Obviously, you can get it on PC. They have it now announced for PlayStation at some point, and then obviously it's coming to Xbox as well. So now that they're spreading their wings with the subscription service, they're going to make all their games pretty high priced. And then say, hey, but if you don't want to pay that, guess what? You can jump into subscription service. And for me, they've got me as long as it comes in at a reasonable price. If it comes in at an extra $5-10 over my ultimate, I'll pay for Ubisoft Plus with all these games coming out. I'll tell you that much. Even if I'm not interested in all of them, I'll pay it if we're going to get all the DLC in these games as part of subscriptions.
I think that's a good buy. $5 or $6. That's a good buy to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. So, but yeah, no, this is going to be a big showcase. Great to have it. Again, I wish it was during E3, not E3 time. I'd like to get all this information out of the way, but having it in September, it's going to make it fun. We're going to have something to look forward to for sure.
For sure. So I'm looking forward to it as well. Looks like chat. Shout out to chat. So Boba Fett, once again, Ray, Timmy, shout out. And Shontu, he said Beyond Good and Evil 2 was announced in 2008. If that isn't development hell, I don't know what it is. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
anytime you pass Cyberpunk in years, you're in development hell. Let me tell you.
Yeah, they're on a streak, the wrong type of streak. So once again, Ubisoft, hopefully they figure things out. But once again, you do got to give them some credit for some things that they're able to achieve. Super consistent. Whether or not the ideas always, land where they need to be, they do put out decent games for the most part. So give them credit for that. And they have super talented people, everything in house. So that's always dope as well. So let's move on to the other big topic, arguably probably the bigger topic this week. And that was the God of War. We finally got the release date. So shout out to God of War. If you guys don't know, I'm a big God of War fan. Always have been. Said it many times on the Shop podcast. So I'm super looking forward to this game. Just want to get everybody kind of gauge where everybody is at. It didn't hit the what was it, 11-12 or the 11-11?
11-11
that people thought it might
Close.
hit.
Close.
Very close. Within 2 days. I thought I was right up until they announced it. I was probably 80-20 on them doing the 11-11. I was like, yeah, they're gonna do that. Like, they're probably gonna. I kind of felt it in my bones, but 11-9. And once again, I'm saying that, but I didn't really care. It's God of War. It's gonna do what it does. It could be the 12th, 13th, 14th. The game is gonna do what it should do because of what it is. So I wasn't worried about the specific date, but it would have been kind of ironic, right? Considering the whole Starfield thing. But we're gonna get to our guest here. Once again, shout out to Doomy for hanging out with us. So where you at? One, are you a God of War fan? And how much are you actually looking forward to playing this game?
Yeah, so I've here we go. I'm gonna expose myself here. I actually haven't played through the whole God of War game.
Okay, it's all right.
Neither have I. Don't worry about it.
All right, okay, cool. I feel a little bit more at ease now. So yeah, I've actually been inspired to get through the whole game. So I'm currently working through that. I'm really enjoying it. It's the story is really touching a nerve in my heart, in my soul. It's so like I'm definitely gonna cry. Definitely gonna cry. I think that the new game is going to be very exciting to see. Akira's a little bit grown up. I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit more gameplay with him. I was with the trailer. I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see gameplay. I would have liked to have seen that. And the thing that is bothering me is that this game is not going to be available as a physical edition. You will not be able to buy this game on a disc.
Yeah, even with the super deluxe one, you don't get a disc.
Yep, correct. Yeah. You get an empty steelbook. You do not get a disc at all. No, it's true. You get a steelbook, but no disc. And I was actually in a party with some people in the chat here. Shout out to Astray and Boba. And I was like, this game, it's not physical. And then I think we were talking to, was it Hargeet, I think, or it might have been Colt, actually, Colt Eastwood. And he confirmed that it takes about 3 months for a game to be from digital to move on to a disc, to that whole production process. So I am thinking that if this game is so hot that they haven't had enough time to actually print the discs. And that worries me a little. What do you guys think?
No. And we can actually roll that right over to Pong and just get his general opinion. But you can piggyback off of what she said, and I don't know if you want to start with maybe some of those specific doubts, but kind of where you at on the reveal, and what she was talking about as well.
Oh, there's no doubt that it's been all hands on deck. I've been on the 2022 train since pretty much the beginning. I haven't wavered that I knew that I thought. Yeah, I stuck to my guns. I thought it would be coming. Yeah. I knew they wanted to bookend it. I knew that they were going to be cutting it close, but I knew that they had all hands on deck for this. I would not doubt that, maybe we'll eventually hear that they pulled from some of the other teams to get this thing done, including some of their new studios that they purchased over the past 12, 18 months to get this thing out the door this year. So I do believe it's coming in hot. I think Doomy is probably correct on that, that this is going to come down to the wire, hence why they didn't show any gameplay at this. And it was kind of they've done it this way before, but it was for a title as big as God of War. The way that they announced this was pretty, it wasn't a big to do, and normally Sony likes to do a big to do. So that tells me that they are working down to the last minute here to get this thing done. I do believe though, what I do believe from Ragnarok with the delay, and getting it pushed out to even now when we were supposed to have it last year. I do think that this has probably gotten a lot bigger than even Corey originally thought it would when he first proposed it and they told him it was too big for DLC. And I think that a lot of Corey's posts on Twitter have hinted at that. I think that that whole DLC moniker, you can say whatever. We've had that talk. That debate rages on.
About that.
Yeah, some people use that to down a game and call it DLC. I think that this game is going to far exceed the experience that people got out of Miles Morales, right? I think that this game will stand alone once it launches and people get their hands on it. I think that DLC kind of knock that people try to use against it, and I don't consider it a knock, but some people in this community do because they like to be a clown. I think that at the end of the day, I think that will fade away. And I think this experience is going to be a full-blown, really true sequel to God of War 2018. And so from that standpoint, I think that that's probably what's taken it this long. And they probably could use a delay till 2023, but I think that they're committed now. Corey and his team are committed. Sony is. I know, again, the bigger picture for me, and I've talked about this plenty of times, PTK, was this really right here was going to be the indicator that Sony understands that the competition has changed. This is not last gen. They cannot rest on their laurels after the first half of the year, right? So they have to be in the news constantly throughout the year because they saw what happened last year when they took the second half of the year off and Xbox dominated the second half of the year into the beginning of this year with the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sony sat back and said, we can't get our name out here. I mean, nobody's talking about PlayStation at all. There's nothing going on. We've got nothing here. Whereas all the talk was Game Pass announcements, games coming out for Xbox, and then of course the acquisition. Listen, they know they can't do that. Last gen they could because Xbox was so far behind in a lot of ways while they were transitioning to this whole new business model and Game Pass once Phil took over and all that stuff. While they were turning the ship around, Sony was just sailing along like it was calm seas. They were fine. They could do whatever the hell they pleased and everybody was praising Sony. And there was 120 million console owners out there just loving their PlayStations. This gen, they don't have that ability anymore. So that's why I thought it was so important that they would bookend the year. Start off with Horizon. And again, the discussion can always be had. Was Horizon up to Sony's excellence per se? No. That game came out more unpolished than most Sony games that we've seen in the past.
That's factual, by the way.
It is factual. You can't deny it. Again, was it still a good game? A lot of people loved it. If I had my PlayStation 5, I would certainly have picked it up and played it because I love Horizon. But at the end of the day, was it the same? The argument can be made it wasn't. And then they get ran over by a train in Elden Ring, which was, nobody saw coming. Yeah, so it's not their fault. But you can see what the plan was, right? To bookend the year with Horizon and then God of War. It makes sense. That way you stay in the news cycle at all times throughout the year. And it's a perfect way to do it. And you can see by the hype. I'm so happy for the God of War fans and the community over on the PlayStation side who have been waiting for this God of War sequel to come out, that they're finally getting it. And the hype is real. Shout out to Benji Sales, great member of this community who does monitor all the stats when it comes to like social media stuff. When big news hits, I mean, they had over 1 million likes within 48 hours, right? So this is big. This is gigantic. It's one of their biggest franchises. For me personally, 2018, I started playing 2018 right when I was getting ready to get rid of my PlayStation 4 as we were coming into this gen because I was selling it off to buy both the Series console and the PlayStation 5. And obviously everybody here in the community or in the chat knows my story that, I got both. But I could not justify with the pandemic, with the financial situation that the family was in. I could not justify keeping the PlayStation 5. I had to make my choice. I sold off the PlayStation 5 digital. So I had to not get to jump back into it again. But it was not, I'm a Jaffe God of War guy. So I'm the original God of War guy. I like the angry, vengeful, animalistic Kratos, right? I can appreciate, however, what they tried to do here. It was a great, it was a great maturation of the character that Corey and his team, and they obviously, Corey made it his own character, taking it over from Jaffe. And so that's fine. We understand that Kratos can't be angry and revengeful forever. There's only so many gods to kill before you run out. And then what do? You're an empty shell. So what they did with Kratos, making him more human, obviously giving him, Atreus, as his son to show off that dynamic as well and have him grow, in that process. That was all brilliant. And I understand why people love it. But 2018 to me, from what I played through of it, was a good game. It just wasn't a game that made me even second guess selling my PlayStation 4 to keep it to play it. But once I get my PlayStation 5, I'll go back to it and I'll be ready to rock and roll on Ragnarok as well. I'll pick up Ragnarok as well because I do want to experience it. Love the setting. Love Kratos as a character, no matter what, if he's sad dad or if he's angry, I still like Kratos as a character. I think he's phenomenal. So I will play it, but I'm just happy it's finally coming. The date is perfect. That week is perfect. It opened up when Starfield got out of there. 11/11 would have been awesome. We talked about it here. I was on that train. I just thought petty Sony, it would have been perfect. The old petty Sony coming back, gut punching a little bit, but we didn't get that. But 11/9 is a great date for them. And I think that this thing's going to sell like bonkers. This is going to be one of the fastest selling titles that PlayStation's had in a while. And, much success to Corey and his team, because I love what Sony Santa Monica does over there. Great developers. And so I can't wait to see how the fans react to it. And I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching YouTube. I'm going to be watching people play it because I'm interested to see where this goes. So
absolutely too.
It's exciting.
Oh yeah, I'm
Hey,
on
Pong,
the.
have you thought about maybe you could play this on PC? You know that?
I don't have a PC, ma'am. I'm a console only player, so I do not have a rig that can play it. Yes. I'm console only.
PC.
Yeah, no, that's not for me at all. Maybe someday, because I do have to get a PC to start doing some more video stuff and obviously during podcasting, all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to do that. So maybe when I get a PC, that might be a possibility. But as of this moment, nope, don't have the ability to do that.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, once again, God of War, like I said, I'm a huge fan, always have been. And Pong, you brought up a lot of great points just in regards to the game. And like you said, major shout out to Corey, the entire team, Sony Santa Monica, top tier dev, have been for a long time. And that's pretty much unquestionable. So the quality of work that we're going to see come the 9th is probably going to be what it's always been, which is top tier. So I do expect the game to sell probably better than people even expected to. I do have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to do some crazy numbers. Like you said, better than a few games, few Sony recent Sony games. So, but yeah, I'm super looking forward to the game. Once again, I don't own a PS5 as well, but I will be watching when I get a PS5. I'll definitely go back and play this game for sure. So, now what we're going to do, since we got into kind of the meat and potatoes of the topics today, we're going to throw this over to you, turn it over to you, chat. So we're going to just drop your questions in chat. Let us know what else you guys want us to talk about, anything that we missed. We always have stuff kind of in our DMs as well that we have lined up that, we probably don't get to early on in the show. So drop the questions in chat right now. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about, anything going on this week in particular. So we'll wait for a couple questions, but I know we had a couple things, Pong. I know there's some specific in our DMs
my goodness,
that I wanted to get.
This is a great idea, guys. Like having people submit questions. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. We just, we pretty much allow them to run the show, and it's awesome. They enjoy it. They're always fun, and the chat here. We have the best chat on YouTube. So shout out to everybody. What's up, Andrew? So yeah, drop those questions in chat. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. So let's go ahead and I know we had a couple things here. Oh, so I did wanted to get to Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. So I wanted to get to that a little bit as well because that's a very, very interesting game. Game coming to Game Pass. I didn't play Vermintide much, the first one. I know it's not a sequel quite, but it's kind of a follow up to that. But I wanted to get everybody's kind of like temperature on that game in general. I know Pong, you're the one who posted it in our DMs earlier. So where are you at?
Yeah.
Is that a? I know it's going to be in Game Pass, I believe, exclusive to Game Pass.
Yeah, day and date.
So day and date. So were you already high on that?
Yeah, I was extremely high on Warhammer Dark Tide, and I've been getting more and more in the Warhammer universe as the years go on here. In fact, I'm planning on ordering a couple of the books and start reading some of the Warhammer universe as well, because I'm so enjoying Inquisitor. Really, again, I had played it on PS4 and then repicked it back up on Xbox recently, and I've been putting a lot of hours into it, and that just put me over the top again, just how much I love it. So I was extremely hyped for Darktide. Everything about it just looks fantastic. Fat Shark. Again, they already have experience in the Warhammer universe from Vermintide 1 and 2, did a phenomenal job with those titles. Of course, those are set in the Warhammer fantasy, dark fantasy side of things, and they're now taking on the, obviously much more futuristic year 40,000 Warhammer, right? So they are taking they're taking a shot with the sci-fi stuff. But what we've seen from Fat Shark, and again, I talk about this all the time with developers who have been around for a while, absolutely love to see teams that continue to work, and every time they put out something new, they take another step up. Vermintide, not everybody played Vermintide. It wasn't a game for everybody, and it was sitting in that AA category that a lot of people pass over, unfortunately. I'm a huge fan of AA. But with Darktide, everything that we've seen is starting to scream AAA. And then for anybody who doesn't know, Skill Up actually got a chance to play the preview build. And obviously, much respect to Skill Up, one of my favorite reviewers out there. Dude does it right. Always is on point. I don't agree with him all the time by any stretch of the imagination. Again, most reviewers I don't agree with 100% of the time, and I have a select few that I go to. But when he put out this preview today and I watched it, you got to go watch it and listen to what he's talking about, because everything he is saying is exactly what I was hoping they were going to do with this game. And he talked about the polish. He said there was a few bugs here and there, but this many months out, not out of the norm. There was nothing that said, this is in trouble, anything like that. He said the gunplay felt amazing. He said the special powers that you do have also felt great. The classes all kind of separated themselves and were really unique. He said everything about this game was right up his alley. So go watch that after the show if you want to check out more Darktide. But I was hyped. Then I saw a Skill talk about it, and he went through it in detail. He had a chance to be the first person outside of the dev team to play it. He actually went back the next day during Summer's Games Fest because he enjoyed his time so much that he wanted to play it again. So he actually went back to the main kind of preview event that they had and played it again. That's how much he was enjoying it. So go check that out. But I think that my level has now gone up even more. I think this is going to be a absolutely phenomenal addition to the Game Pass ecosystem, day and date. And I think being at that multiplayer co-op experience that so many of us enjoy and love, I think we're going to be seeing our friends list fill up with Warhammer Darktide players nonstop if you look at your friends list. So it was great to hear. I can't wait to see more and actually get my hands on it in September.
Okay, so I don't know, Doomy. I'm not sure if you played Vermintide at all, or I don't know how much interest you had in this new Darktide 40,000 Warhammer 40,000 Darktide coming out. So have you seen the trailer? You have any interest?
No, it's not really on my radar.
Okay.
I am interested. Like it looked when I think about this game, because I don't know much about the lore or the anything really behind it. I just look at what it's currently like. What is it bringing now? So I really hope that the Xbox and the technology behind Xbox really do the story justice. With 60 frames per second, 4K, all that. So it looks cool, and I think that anyone who is a fan of the series will have a great time on Game Pass.
Okay, awesome, cool. Well, I'm of the same vein as well. Like I think that,
like I said, I don't know much about it. I don't.
Well, I'm not. To be fair, I'm not too familiar with the lore of the universe as well. I do know of the game. Once again, I've never been huge into the backstory. I know they have books, and there's a deep, huge universe there. And Pong said there's a ton of books and a ton of lore there. If you're super interested in all of that, so I'm with you on that one, Doomy. But just from the trailer, I'm a gamer at heart. I'm a co-op junkie. So like this is everything that I love. The co-op, grinding together, loot, all these different types of things. That's right up my alley. So if I'm hearing that the game is as polished as it is, like I'm ready to go. Because I did see a few videos of Vermintide being played, and it did look like something I would play. Although there was some technical issues with the game that made it kind of not as appealing. But hearing that this one is like way further along, the polish is where it needs to be, the gunplay is where it needs to be. I'm super excited. Like I'm a big Destiny 2 fan. Like I said, I'm a Division 2 fan, so this is right up my alley. Although it's not the same exact type of game, I love the grind, that type of stuff. Cool weapons, cool settings, cool enemies. So once again, that's right where I need to be. So I'm gonna at least try that. With it being on Game Pass, that's just a damn bonus, right? Like that makes it a no-brainer. I think that's kind of the cherry on the top. And I think it's you got to give Xbox credit. People don't give Xbox credit for these type of deals. This may, it may not be something that you're looking for initially, but like Pong said, I mean, this might be something that just pops off out of nowhere. It's potentially based on, the way the people that have played it, how they feel about it already. So I'll throw this to you, Fuzzy, get your genuine opinion. I know I think we've talked about this. I'm pretty sure it's come up, right? I believe it when it was shown, we've talked about it before, but it's been a little while since we've actually had a conversation.
No, I'm not big into the Warhammer lore as well, but it's a shooter that looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, and that's all that matters to
really,
me.
like, right,
and
really,
and the fact that it's in Game Pass, like you said, it's the cherry on top. You at least owe yourself to try it. That's all I gotta say for anybody that's on the fence of it. But it definitely looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. Just shooting a ton of stuff with cool weapons. That's I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm
and
eight
that's
brain.
what I think that Game Pass really does do multiplayer co-op games justice. Like if my friend is having a great time on a game and we can play together and they can sort of hold my hand through it, I'll be like, oh, you know what, it's on Game Pass, I'll download it. Give me an hour, I'll download it, and then we jump in, and it's always such an amazing time. So, and I mean, not to get console worry, but I was looking yesterday because I don't have any PlayStation subscriptions, and I was looking through, and I was just like, I don't know. Like I felt really alone on my PlayStation, and I felt like I was looking through the catalog, and I'm like, yeah, okay, they've got a few good ones in here, but I don't know, the magic just wasn't there. So I think Xbox really does do it well, and I'll probably, if one of my friends is playing Warhammer, I will probably be like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do it. I'll give it a try. Why not?
Awesome.
Nice.
And so for that Sony take, for sure, that's coming. They're heavily invested. As far as the third party, that multiplayer. That's I don't even know. I think they had a number, right? Pong, like 10 games.
Yeah, it's like 10.
Like
they've got 10 or 12 games as a service in development right now that they're planning over the next 2 years. I think it is. So
Okay.
They're gonna be heavy into that.
I look forward to it. Perhaps God of War is a bit of a kick up the butt, and they can continue to be reach their full potential in this space.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get to some more questions here. We got a bunch of questions in chat. Shout out to everybody dropping them questions. You guys are fucking amazing every single week. Super interactive. Thank you, man. So I want to start with I had to go back, by the way, I had to go back, by the way, to find a few questions, but I want to start with my mod of the year, Shonsu, man. He said, what is your preference, wired or wireless connection while gaming, console to controller and console to internet? So I guess we'll start, or I guess we'll just start with whoever wants to go then. I mean,
yeah. Okay, I can go. So obviously, ideally, you want your internet connection connected or wired to your console, especially if you're playing a lot of multiplayer online games. I personally, I live in a small town, so my internet connection is, it can be a bit dicey sometimes. So yeah, I do rely on my wired internet connection. And that goes for even on I have a PC, and especially for my PC as well. In saying that though, if I'm playing on my my PC, wired controllers, wired peripherals are fine. So I don't really have a preference there. In regards to my consoles, wireless. But I'm terrible. I'm actually a little bit delinquent with charging my my stuff. So sometimes I do it. So sometimes I do end up being wired anyway. But you know, when I remember, wireless all the way.
Awesome. Okay, I think I'm pretty much about the same. Like, you know, wired all the way for, you know, mainly because I most of the games I play are multiplayer co-op, so I'm online playing games 99.9% of the time. So wired always. Now controller, I haven't actually used a wired controller in forever for the console. I'm probably wireless all the way. It's just I'm used to it. It's convenient. Don't have to worry about the wires. I think the last time I had a wired controller probably was 360. You know, the play and charge kit, technically you can go from wireless to wired, right? So that was probably the last time I had something along those lines. So fellas, I don't know, you know, Pong, Fuzz, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Wired console for sure, 100%. And because I'm on the couch, since I'm a console only player, I've gone all wireless, and like I can't go back. Like I know some of the wired controllers, a lot of people love them, and they actually are cheaper in price for some of like the customizable stuff, which I've looked at. Like I've really been close, but I'm like, no, I just can't do it. I gotta be wireless. And you know, I've been wireless headset forever, but the convenience of wireless, especially sitting on the couch. Now, if I was at a PC, and it was, you know, set up like Doomy was talking about, where you're just at the desk or whatever else, and you got your setup right there, I could definitely see myself going wired on a controller, you know, just to see the difference. But for the most part, nah, wireless on the accessories for sure.
All right, go ahead, Fuzz.
Now, for me, until I would say like the last year of the Xbox One X, I was always wireless on my consoles because I was like, oh, my Wi-Fi is good enough. But then again, I wasn't doing as much multiplayer stuff. But now the console has to be wired as far as internet's concerned. PC, on the other hand, is wireless because I don't usually game multiplayer on that. That's mostly like my PC modded games like GTA 5 or something like that, where it's got a ton of mods. It's not going online at all as far as that's concerned, type of thing. Now, for controllers on my PC, it's wired or wireless, depending on if I forgot the charger or leave it on its stand with the charger long enough. So it bounces back and forth. But for like my console, at least for my Xbox, always wireless. Like I got the little I guess holder for the Elite controller where it charges in that little holder. So that one,
the cradle,
the cradle. I'm at least pretty good as far as keeping that charge. But my PlayStation, definitely PlayStation 4, because the batteries the built-in batteries in those controllers were crap for a while. That was wired for the longest time. Like the first couple of years, it was wireless. Towards the end, it was wired only because they just didn't hold a charge. My PS5, I actually had to get a second controller. So it's like 4-hour stints of switching between having one charge, play on the other one. All right, switch them out. So it's like, it might as well be wired at this point. But their built-in batteries don't seem to last anywhere near as much as like the built-in battery of the Elite controller or any of the charge and go packs and stuff that I have in my other controllers. So it all depends, but try to be wireless as much as I can with the console as far as the controller is concerned.
All right. So I think most people are probably. Oh, go ahead, Doom.
No, I was just going to say, am I allowed to submit a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, you continue, and then I can.
Okay. All right, cool. I was gonna say, go ahead whenever you're ready. But all right. So Gabe, shout out to Gabe Cali Kid 619. Appreciate you, brother. He said, do you believe Sony was forced to put out the release date of God of War due to craziness of some trolls?
Now we spoke at length on our podcast about that, about the public pressure that was put on the studio, including the spicy pictures that some of the devs received in their DMs. So we spoke about it, and look, if it was me, I would have pushed it back because of that happening. but look, you know, there's a lot of pressure behind the scenes that we don't see. They have contracts, they have deadlines to fill, you know, all that stuff. So honestly, if any person who owns a penis in the community believes that sending a picture of it to a member of a gaming development team will make a game come out faster, they're dreaming. I don't care if it's, covered in gold and, it does not matter. That was, if you think that had any influence over it, you're dreaming. So no, I don't think so. I think this was planned, and like Pong said, they've been working at it all year, getting this out, it's no, no.
No, I agree. I'm full stop with you on that one. Absolutely no. Sometimes we as a community forget our bubble is not the only bubble. Like we're a very, very small part of the actual larger gaming community. So things like that get a bit overblown and out of hand. Absolutely not. These people don't make games. They make games for us, but once again, there's timelines. They have things that they can and can't do. The game had already been delayed once already. They were absolutely pushing for this year. Everything was indicating from, Barlog to just some of the other things that they were doing that they were really pushing for this game to come out this year. And everybody was set on that date anyway, the whole 11/11 date. I thought the community in general was locked in on that date. So I don't know where any idea of this, all of a sudden the community has bullied Sony Santa Monica into putting out God of War. That's a bit ridiculous. Like, come on, this game needs to come out for all of us. Like, y'all need to relax. We do not, I know we do have a lot of, pull and push. We can make things happen in the community, but I highly doubt threatens, pictures, emails, whatever the case may be, influence the decision of when this game was coming out.
The only drawback is the optics of it, because it was just like a matter of timing, I think. So the ones that did send the pics, they're probably putting two and two together, thinking that somehow that helped, because effectively a release date wasn't too far behind. But it, like you said, it was always probably in the cards as far as that date being met, or somewhere close to that, and the announcement of that date being somewhere close to that as well, because all these Sony insiders kept saying, oh, the end of June, and supposedly that was the case, and then that changed or whatever. But yeah, in all effect, it just seems funny that of all the things to send a dev, they think those types of picks would like influence the release of a release date. Like I made my Fonzie Bear like joke to it. Maybe they thought release date meant like happy ending or something. I don't know. It just it seems like they must have gotten like gaming and adult video stuff confused or something for a split second. They're like, oh yeah, this will help. But yeah. I think
I have no idea what went through their mind at all. I mean, is it must be impressive. Like, like to have the audacity, like that level of audacity, like it must be good. I don't know.
Yeah, there are some people that should be heavily medicated within the community, unfortunately. Not to make light of things, because I know that there are people that do need medication, but these are clearly people that they are not either taking their medication or they're not getting the diagnosis that they need, and just taking things into their own hands, and I don't know. It's just I of all the things, I would have figured maybe a death threat. Not that I would even condone that, but I could kind of see that in like a crazy person's mind. But no, I'm gonna take a picture of this, and this will influence them. Like, really? Crazy.
Yeah. PTK, if you don't mind, I'd like to address a question that I actually put out to my community.
Yeah, sure.
And I actually put a poll up this week, and I asked my community, which do you prefer when acquiring games, physical versions or digital versions? Now, I received 3,303 votes. Do you know? Do you want to know who won?
Digital.
I was so surprised that digital won.
Really?
I was shocked. I was actually shocked. So I got 40% for physical and 60% for digital.
Yep,
that's about right.
That's about right.
That's about right. Yeah, that's about where I would put it at. Yeah.
For the state, well, at least here in the U.S., I think the transition really started like the middle of last gen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had asked that question 10 years ago or 5 years ago, even, I think it would have been a different result as far as physical.
For sure.
But I think a lot of people now, I hate to say it, like, oh, us Americans, we're lazy. We don't feel like getting up to take the disc out of the console type of thing.
Oh,
But it, to some
really? Oh
extent,
no.
it is one of those things where it's like, there's so many games out there, and we kind of have like gaming ADD to some extent, where it's like, all right, I played this game, I want to switch to another game. And doing it where it's physical, it's like you got to get up, take the disc out, put the other disc in, make sure you put the original disc in the original box, and make sure it doesn't get scratched. And I think people, especially as they get older, at least in my age group, they're like, screw it, I got the money, I'll just do digital. And the ramification is, whether you buy physical or digital, technically it's just basically a license or a key. So it's not like it used to be, where, oh, if you got the physical game, there's no way that they could ever take that game away from you or make it unplayable. But now that DRM is kind of here to stay for the most part, you might as well just do digital and be done with it, as far as not having a big enough big collection collecting dust, unless you want the steel books, which a lot of people still get the steel books, but even those are moving to like digital codes as well. So
yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pong.
No, that's okay. PTK, go ahead with your statement.
No, I was just gonna bring up
Oh.
the God of War example, right?
Yeah.
Even with
Yeah.
the collector's edition, you're not getting a disc. So
Right,
go ahead, Pong.
right. Yeah, no, and I responded to her poll too, and like I explained, I used to be highly resistant to digital, and I used to buy everything physical, right? But now, as I get older, as I become more of a grazer, the convenience factor of having things digital, having the external hard drive for a lot of the games, and being able to browse a good portion of my library right there as I'm deciding what to play, because since I'm not one of those people that has, 1, 2, maybe 3 games on rotation. I have like 15, 20 games in rotation at all times. For me, it's just a convenience factor at this point. But like I responded to her poll for, obviously older games. Obviously, I'm still buying some physical. I've been picking up 360 games again, used, some of the ones that aren't backwards compatible, obviously, because I still have my 360, and some of the Xbox One games. And I still, because I'm a budget gamer, because I don't have the funds to buy everything that I want to play. Again, I'll play pretty much anything out there, and I want to play pretty much anything out there. If a sale comes along on a physical copy, like if GameStop has one of their ridiculous sales, like they did a few months ago, or like beginning of the year, I got like, I don't know, like 8 games for like $25, right?
Mhm.
Including like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which never goes on sale, right? So I will not pass up physical if it's a big enough sale. Like I'll still buy it there. But for the most part, the convenience of digital is just too great of a thing to overcome. It really is. And I still don't mind changing out discs. But like I said, because I have so many in rotation, because there's some days where I just stare at my library and it takes me 20 minutes to figure out what I want to play. It's much easier doing that on the big screen than it is sitting over at my shelf, looking at all my discs there, sitting there going, which one of these do I want to play? So that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think that number might even be higher. Yeah, I really depends on who you're asking. I guess who the the community that catches it. But I feel like I've been that way probably since, like you said, but Fuzz mentioned earlier about the middle of last generation. I just stopped buying physical games. I mean, a lot of the deals are digital as well. You get a lot of the perks and the breaks, by having a subscription, and it works hand in hand. You get Game Pass. A lot of those deals are obviously Game Pass is all digital. So you're not buying physical, so when you subscribe to that type of service, it just makes complete sense, in my opinion, to continue, going that route. And the flexibility, like you said, Pong, like, I'm sitting on my couch, I don't know what to play. It may take me a little while. I can get up, think about something, go grab something to eat, come back, kind of browse the library, figure out what's going on. And, I don't have to get up and swap disc and worry about the disc being scratched, or where did I misplace it, or whatever the case may be. That's just something that, like, over time I've kind of let go. If I'm just being honest, like I just kind of I've kind of let that go, so I'm not anti-physical.
I don't know.
For sure,
Maybe I'm old fashioned, but there's something so just cathartic about opening, like picking the box up and opening it, and that satisfying click when you take
I'm
it
that
out.
way with books.
I was just going to say that,
I'm that way
BTK.
with
I'm the
books.
exact. Me and Steele just talked about that this morning.
Yeah.
Living split screen. I'm the exact same way with books.
With
I have a
books. I
Kindle.
can't
I
do
have a lot of
digital.
books.
I
I
can't do
have a
digital
Kindle,
books.
but no, there's something missing from
Yeah.
picking up a physical book. The smell of it, everything
Oh,
about
man.
an
Oh,
actual
so
physical
you get me
book is
going.
special. Yes.
You get me going, man. Yeah. I get it, dude.
It's a
There's a
sensory
magic there.
experience.
Yes.
Like
Correct.
when they changed to having even from like the PS2 to now, when you slide the disc in now, but I used to love just like clicking it in and pulling it out. Oh my god, I'm so weird, but I just I don't look. I know it's the way of the world. People don't have as much space or in their homes, or they want to be more environmentally friendly, or whatever their reasons are, they can't be bothered getting off the couch. I just I don't know.
Hey, I feel attacked.
I know it's
Stop.
but I'm just old school, I guess. Look, my physical collection isn't that big. But I like. What did I say? What did I say to Risk It yesterday? I said I like looking at all my debt on the shelf. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Nice.
I feel you. But once again, you can't. That magic is something that you can't replicate digitally. So I get it, right? Like I completely understand. So let's get to a couple more of these questions here. We got a bunch of them in chat. Shout out to everybody watching live. Appreciate you guys, man. Everybody hanging out with us. Gamecast. I saw Jesse B. Shout out to you, Zinc, with the hot takes in chat. We need many more of those before the show is over. But I'm gonna grab Bacon Life's question. Shout out to you, brother. He said, do you think with the success of Xbox strategy of 2 SKUs with Series S and X, obviously, do you think Sony has 2 consoles next gen, with one being weaker and more affordable? We're a bit ahead of the curve on that question, Bacon, but we'll do what we can. We love to go to speculation town. We've been there the whole time anyway.
This is like 8 years into the future here.
Yeah, really. This is what Pong lives for. These are the type of questions that. Yeah, this is matter of fact, Pong. You can go ahead and lead off here. You're batting 1,000 on season with these kind of.
No, I'm not. I died on Starfield Hill twice. Okay, so no, I do not bat 1,000 in any way, shape, or form. My crystal ball is cracked. Listen, when it comes to that question, that's very interesting. That assumes that Sony is still going to be producing consoles at next generation.
Ooh.
All right, so
we're in speculation town, baby. I remember this place.
That assumes that. Although, again, just like Fuzzy, I'm also on the trip that obviously Amazon, Apple could be in acquisition mode for
Fuzzy
Sony.
He converted you, man.
Yeah, no, I had that thought. He converted me on the Apple. He converted me on the Apple. The Apple one was his, but the Amazon was mine. I was on that long, even before I started podcasting. I was on that trip. So, okay, let's just go with the assumption that they are still producing consoles next gen. Let's just assume that to be fair for this question. If they're doing consoles next generation, and again, we don't know what the technology is going to look like, but let's say all things considered equal, we kind of on the same kind of trajectory we have been, then yes, I would say next gen Sony does come with a 2 SKU system, does offer a lower one, because we already had this proven. This was not something that Microsoft and Xbox came up with on a whim, right? This was not some luck deal that they did where they decided to make a weaker console, a cheaper console that could still play the same games, and they just guessed that it would be successful. We saw this with the Wii generation, right? Wii was a lot less powerful than the 2 big boys, and it outsold everybody, okay? It outsold everybody and then some. So this was something that's well known, that if you get the right price point and you have a product that's well made, which the Series S obviously is, even if it is lacking in certain areas, the masses will look at the cheaper price point and say, but can I play this game on it? And as long as the answer is yes, they don't care.
Can I propose a question? Can I say something? I want to see where you're at on this. I wholeheartedly believe the Series S is probably the most flexible console we've ever seen from a performance and value standpoint.
Yes.
Like, I don't think there's any console that comes close from a performance and value. Just remember what I'm saying. standpoint, I don't think there's a console that's even close.
No, there's not. And then you throw in form
No, there
factor,
isn't. Yeah.
you throw in portability, you throw in all the different functions that console allows people to do. How many pictures on Twitter, how many videos on Twitter of people taking their S on the go at all times, no matter what they're doing. Again, that's why handhelds, that's why the Switch has done so well, because it's a portability factor. That's why the Steam Deck is already taking off. It's the portability factor. The S happens to be a console. Sure, it's not as portable as an actual handheld is, but at the same time, because the form factor is so small, because it is so simple of a product to hook up and to get almost the same experience that you're going to get from a series console, it is a brilliant idea, and people are, obviously gravitating towards it for all those points that you just made, PTK. So yes, that is a big deal. And I think that Sony is looking over with a little bit of envy at this point, saying, damn it, we should have done that. We should have thought about this better. We should have done this. Like, we've heard some of the rumors of, the PlayStation 5 and how it was developed and some of the things that they went through, and that maybe it was supposed to come out a year earlier, and they, did all this stuff, and they had to go back to the drawing board with it because they heard the Series X specs. So if all that's true, they probably didn't have the time to put into R&D to make this console, to make another console that would have been a competitor to the Series S. But I think going forward, next gen, assuming Sony's there, assuming Sony's producing consoles next gen, absolutely, I think they do put out a cheaper one just like the Series S.
Okay. I like that. I think it's definitely something that Sony will look at. I mean, look at they follow suit with Game Pass. They know what's going where. They can see the trend. I mean, the trends, they can kind of see where the industry is going. They have projections. So something like the S, I think completely caught Sony off guard. And once again, due to the flexibility, due to the options that it provides, like you said, the portability, it still gives you the power of a next-gen console. You know what I mean?
And it's going to be faster it's going to be faster. It's going to be so easy for Xbox. It's not going to take long for them to get down to that magic number of $199. It's with that Series S, and that is the price point. Once it hits that price point, look out. $199 for that console is going to be ridiculous. Yeah, it's going to be flying off the shelves even faster than it is now.
And then you throw Game Pass in there, which makes it out, like you said, it's a Game Pass machine essentially. With it being an all digital console anyway, it's a Game Pass machine. So you add in that's just it's the best value in gaming. Like I said, it's probably the most versatile console that's ever been made for its value and what it's capable of doing. So I got a ton of questions, so I want to run through these as quickly as I can. We'll probably just each grab one and just kind of go through it. So shout out to Other Zing once again. He said, do you guys think Ubisoft is bold for releasing Skull and Bones right next to God of War? That is hilarious because I did put out a tweet earlier about that. That's interesting. So anybody want to take that one, and then we'll move on to another question.
I don't think they're bold. I just think they're kind of like what Pong had said in the DMs. It's like, it's Ubisoft being Ubisoft. They're kind of like shooting themselves in their own foot, but they'll make it work for them. They don't care if God of War is releasing. It's going to be on all platforms, and it's going to be, all. I guess the only thing that kind of bugs me a bit about it is that it's going to be $70 instead of free to play, or instead of it being like a $30 to $50 range or something. But outside of that, I think they wouldn't care if it released alongside of any other game. It's going to find its niche. The fans are going to come to it, or they're going to wait for a sale kind of thing. And then it'll kind of do like For Honor, where it'll eventually build up a player base and grow from there type of thing. But it is typically Ubisoft, although EA has been famous for doing similar stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. So let's grab a few more questions if we can find them. I'm kind of going down here. Once again, chat, drop your questions in the chat. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about, if there's anything on your mind. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to talk about, because Others Inc., I think he put in a question as far as like racing games and things like that. We're hopefully hearing some more info here soon on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I think they have something coming up in the next couple of months or something as far as more info for it. Hopefully we get something from EA here soon as far as Need for Speed, because I know that's supposed to be announced here soon, or get some sort of official unveiling. But as far as like on Microsoft's end, they're just basically, I guess, refamiliarizing some of the fans with Motorsport 7 as far as some of the tracks. Like they're focusing on people that are taking like pictures or videos of different tracks and things like that. And I think they're going to eventually use some of that as like comparison stuff for future, where it's like, oh, this is how, you can navigate the track, trail brake on this turn, make sure you turn in early on this corner and stuff. But then they're going to show what the improved physics is. They did do a post where they were thanking the fans for the feedback and stuff like that, where a lot of the feedback has helped them with the improvements on suspension modeling, tire modeling, and such, where you'll have like anti-squat and stuff like that. And roll center is going to be a little bit more noticeable as far as how you get the car to rotate through the corner and still, maintain your speed or carry speed out of the turn. So a lot of that stuff I think is going to be what they dive into as we get closer to probably like, I guess, a March or so launch of that next year. But there's definitely
every time I see.
Go ahead, Doomy.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Every time I see something come out of motorsport, I'm literally salivating. Like, it looks incredible. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It's just going to be sensational. It's going to be the best one they've done so far. And honestly, if you haven't played any of their games before, or if you've only played the Horizon series, or you've only played GT, like I was so disappointed in Gran Turismo 7. It's a piece of poo as far as I'm concerned. And I think Motorsport is just gonna blow people's mind, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I saw you with your stack of Forzas. That was impressive. That was awesome.
I've added.
Have you?
I've added.
Have you?
I've got one more left to complete my collection, and then I'll do another photo.
Nice. Can't wait.
Back. People with their OCD, they were like, "You're missing this one. You're missing this one."
Of course.
Complete collection. Okay, it wasn't complete. It's just what I have. You know how hard it is to track down these physical ones.
Yeah.
Fuzzy, I was going to ask you though, Fuzz. Did you hear one of the brainiacs over at Games Radar? Did you see his article?
No.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You really open it? You want to do? Wait a minute. Before we open this Pandora's box, you sure you want to do this?
Oh, come on, PTK. It'll be quick. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Let's do it. No. So one of the brainiacs over at Games Radar wrote a nice little opinion piece about how Forza has to inject personality into their racing game in order to take the crown back from Gran Turismo 7.
I know. Okay, they're making a cars game, a Disney cars game now. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. He was saying that he was pointing out that maybe they should go the route of like Grid Legends and have like actors giving personality or have or have names on the race car. No, this was the best. Fuzzy, you didn't listen to Living Split Screen this morning, did you?
I didn't see the early part.
Okay. So we got into this and I was shouting you out because when we got into this article, brother, I was dying because I read it and I was like, look, because he went into the AI and he said the Drivatar system basically is terrible and they need to go away from it and they need to go back to a standard AI system. And this is what he said, Fuzzy. Now, again, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the article up in front of me, but this is correct paraphrasing here. He stated that they should maybe go back to having real, just, AI names, like, names over the cars or whatever the case may be, but give that AI individual types of driving styles, like aggressive or like safe, and introduce that back into the game.
Wait, what?
So basically, this guy did one of those.
Yes.
Basically, this is how did you explain to me how you don't play this game, or tell me you don't play this game without telling me you don't play this game? That's basically what he did. Oh my god.
Yeah. So you could learn as you drove against all these drivers time and time again. You could learn their tendencies, and you would know to be careful around a guy because he might run you off the road. Look, Fuzzy. And then he was saying that he was insinuating through the article that Gran Turismo's AI was so much better. I'm like, This dude obviously is not following Fuzzy on Twitter because Fuzzy has added Polyphony and a bunch of the devs over there with videos of how bad the AI in Gran Turismo is.
Wow.
I said, so obviously he has not been watching Fuzzy's Twitter feed at all. Bro, I could not believe it, Fuzzy. You got to go check that article out.
Oh
man.
yeah, I definitely do. Like,
Yeah, I need
like,
to. I need
that-
to look this up.
Yeah, put
That is
that. We can go ahead and send
ridiculous.
that in the DMs if you can find it, Pong.
Yeah, I
'cause
can find it.
I
I've,
saw
I've
it.
had to modify my cars and then give those to the AI so they don't, so they drive halfway decent. Like the videos that I post aren't the normal AI. It's my cars, my setup, and they're allowed to drive them, and that's the only reason why it looks like they're on the track and being competitive. Oh my god, yeah, I need to do a video. I really need to do a video. Thank you for that. I will. Yeah.
You got that blood boiling over there. Man.
I know. I can hear it. I can hear it.
Man, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man.
No,
we gonna keep this going before it get volatile around here. It's getting spicy, man. But shout out to
Get
Focus
hurt.
Active. I know, right? Shout out to Focus Active, man. He dropped a phenomenal question. And once again, chat, keep those questions going, man. We got a little bit of time left in the show, so keep those questions flowing for us. So he says, so you think Xbox makes good on their promise of to release a AAA game every quarter in 2023? What games do you think they release second half of the year?
Yes, they will make the one every quarter. In fact, if all things hit right, it will probably be, and you count the Activision Blizzard acquisition going through, first party titles will be it'll come out to probably one every 2 months minimum. It'll probably be at least 6 first party AAA games next year, potentially more than that. We could have up to 8, depending on how things move around. Second half of the year, I'm on Avowed, Contraband for both second half of the year stuff. I think those two are locked into place. Outside of that, I don't think Hellblade 2 will make it. I still see that as a early 2024 game, but it could surprise. It could be a holiday 2023 game. But I think right now for sure Avowed and Contraband are going to be your 2 big second half games next year. And there'll probably be another one at least thrown in there as well. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. All right. That's a great lineup. Once again, I think we've talked about that a few times as well, Paul, kind of projecting it out, kind of where things are at. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question here. We got Gabe, aka Cali Kid 619. Once again, throwing shots at Pong.
Shout out. I'm shouting out my panel members. They're in the chat.
Oh, nice. Shout out.
I'm not a walking bow tie. That's my little logo. Thank you. Yeah.
Giving you a hard time.
Hi,
In
guys.
the
So much love.
Oh yeah, man. They always showing love to the chat, always showing love to the panel here, man, and the guests on the show. But I want to get back to this question here. I done lost myself. So yeah, Gabe, aka Cali Kid 619 says. So he said, Pong Soul is taking an L in 2022 compared to PS, or Xbox is taking an L. Sorry,
Xbox.
Xbox is taking an L in 2022 compared to PS in regards to first party releases. Also, do you lack of next gen first party releases this year for Xbox has or will hurt them? I think
about this too.
We talked about this too. Yeah, we went over this. Yeah, not that long ago. So yes and no, right? Yes, for the immediate reaction, like. For the immediate reaction in the community, people that want to push agendas, yes, you could say it hurts, in a way. Yeah, they don't have games to finish out the year, or even really, they don't have games to finish out the year. So that looks like they don't have, they're not ready for what was going on, or necessarily they had to move things around, and it doesn't necessarily look good. But at the end of the day, I've said it before, they're insulated now. They're able to withstand these types of things happening. If this would have happened, the whole Starfield thing and things being moved around with Redfield, if this would have happened 3 or 4 years ago, it probably would have been devastating to Xbox. It is not as much anymore because they have tons of studios, they have tons of IPs coming out. So with that game being moved to next year, there's still gonna be a ton of excitement. They can kind of absorb that. Yeah, it's gonna suck for a little while. Don't have to deal with that, but it's not as big of a deal. You have Game Pass. Games still dropping throughout the year in Game Pass. They're able to absorb something like that a lot better than they used to be 3 or 4 years ago when they didn't have Bethesda and the other studios, and now with Activision Blizzard and all of those studios. So I just think they're better prepared for when things like that happen. In the long run, no, I don't really think, because as long as we still get Starfield, I think everybody's okay with that. I think Pong's fine as long as we still get the game, right? So,
I still cry myself to sleep every single night.
oh my
PTK.
goodness. but ultimately, I just think we're better prepared for when something like this happens. It sucks for the fans. Yeah, it sucks for us.
Yeah.
But in the long run, Xbox is a lot more insulated. They can withstand these types of things happening now, whereas 3-4 years ago, it was a lot more detrimental when these things happen.
Yeah.
So
I think it's more so like us as the enthusiasts, that we notice it more. Like considering how these consoles are selling and the way Game Pass, I guess, is helping push that. I think it's only for the enthusiasts that it seems like an L for Xbox. I think in the grand scheme of things, I know that there's going to be quite a few people that'll try their best to pick up a PS5 to get God of War, but there's also still a ton of people picking up the Series S and Series X for what Game Pass has to offer. And it looks like some of those games, even though like Dusk Falls may not appeal to the masses, or at least the masses of the enthusiasts, it seems like that type of game, as well as Pendiment, as well as like High on Life and stuff like that, are what's going to appeal to people shopping during the Christmas season and things like that. So it's like the tale of two different worlds. I think the mainstream, it's no different as far as for the hardcore or the enthusiasts. We're the ones that's kind of like, yeah, it stings a little, but yeah, not too much to the point where, you can look at Game Pass and it's like, oh, well, these 2 games drop this week and 5 games drop next week, and so forth. So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's only surface hurt. That's about it.
Fuzzy, I think you're exactly right. We're all caught up in this bubble because we're all invested, and like you say, we're enthusiasts, and we often think, oh well, whatever's going on in this world, in the mainstream and the general consumer side of things, that they must know it too. But when I was a teenager, a younger adult, I didn't know about this stuff. I just thought, oh my gosh, that's cool. They brought out something new and I want it. Like I wasn't thinking about how many AAA releases were available this year by, or, you know what I mean? Like people aren't thinking about this. Only we're thinking about this. Okay, so I think sometimes we do get caught up, and yeah, at the end of the day, everyone's buying consoles. So
yeah. And I think people, so another reason is because, sometimes we will band together and have we will be able to change things. It's happened before many times in the community where we've been able to band together and have some influence, and, things have changed because of, the community's voice. But once again, we're still a very small portion of that, as Doomy just stated. So got to keep that in mind. So once again, chat, keep the questions coming, man. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I miss some of you guys, Infinite, Jedi Knight, Peter, a bunch of other people in here. Bacon, I know you said you had to leave. Shout out to you, Psycho. Shout out to everybody watching, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. But let's see if we have any other questions that I might have.
I was just going to say, and let's not forget, there's still the potential that they get that acquisition done before the end of the year, and there's going to be zero talk about no AAA first-party titles this year again, because that deal goes through. Those Activision Blizzard titles start dropping into Game Pass. Look, everybody's going to forget it. We've already, again, I'm more than happy. Again, I'm ultra sad and disappointed at Starfield. It's spilt milk at this point, but that was my biggest, most anticipated title for the longest time in years, right? And I'm disappointed. But as a grazer, the type of gamer I am, I have more to play than I will know what to do with. I've got Persona coming into Game Pass, for God's sake. That's hundreds of hours right there. But if they get that Activision Blizzard deal go through, we start getting those titles in Game Pass. My God, it's going to feel like Christmas upon Christmas upon Christmas. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And that's why I said, I just think ultimately and we've talked about this many times, Pong, on the show, they're well insulated now. That does not affect them as much as it could years ago. You have all these studios, you have all these IPs you've been working on. There's a lot on the stove right now, a lot cooked up right now, and you're able to kind of rest on that. They've shown enough. I think they've proven with the last few E3s that, they haven't quite gotten that cadence down. Things have had to move around. Obviously, the big one being Starfield and Redfall. But I think once 2023 hits, we'll start to see that cadence. They start to fall into where they need to be. And I don't think we will any longer have that issue. It's just from a first-party standpoint, because Game Pass is still going to provide tons of games. There's still going to be, third-party stuff, multi-plat stuff that we all play any goddamn way. It's funny because people will say that and go right back to playing Madden and Fortnite and Call of Duty, and it's like, really,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? These are annual releases. You know what I mean? And we're sitting up here complaining. But no, I get it. I understand. I understand where a lot of that comes from. And shout out to Prodigy as well. New people in here, man. Shout out what just happened. Shout out to you, brother. Always here every single week, man. But yeah, let us know. Once again, we're taking a few more questions before we wrap this up, man. So chat, let us know what you guys got going on. Any other questions? Pong, did we miss anything? I hadn't gone back in the DMs.
I mean, we missed a couple, headliners from NACON, the showcase this week.
Okay.
I can just throw a couple out there. I've got the entire list, obviously, but I'll just throw a couple out there. Look, RoboCop, for all of us old heads who are giant fans of the RoboCop.
Don't expose
movie.
me. Don't expose me, Paul. I didn't ask for that.
Wait, I'm exposing myself then, PTK. Let's be real here, brother. Okay.
Oh, you know I'm in that group.
Hey,
Paul,
no
come on
one's
now.
exposing themselves here. You're not.
Wait a minute.
What's happening
This is
again?
not
All right.
Sony.
Settle down.
Yeah, none of us work for Sony Santa Monica.
Oh,
okay,
my
listen.
goodness.
Listen. RoboCop came out of nowhere. This was announced a while back. A lot of people had forgotten because it was just a teaser. Nobody knew what to expect out of it. When it was announced, I was like, oh, cool. We're getting a RoboCop game? Awesome. Well, out of the blue, NACON has a showcase this week. Nobody really expected much from it. And lo and behold, they start off the show with RoboCop and they show gameplay. Now, look. This is by no means a AAA game. This is from a developer called Teon. Okay, they did the Terminator game that a lot of people missed out on because that was not AAA. It was a AA game. So don't expect this to be mind-blowing, Unreal Engine 5 graphics. Okay, that's not what this game's about. But they are nailing the feel of the RoboCop original movie from the 80s. That cheesy B-movie, over-the-top action, gore, violence.
Quality stuff.
Look,
action back there.
Look, man, look. But they got Peter Weller to come back, the original RoboCop. He's doing the voicing. They got his face in the game. They have nailed it. Yes, it is. It's absolutely amazing. First-person shooter. They've got the whole UI that you see through his visor straight from the movie with all the sound effects. Listen, this is going to be phenomenal. That comes out June of next year. 2023 just got even more special. Steel Rising, the game from Spiders, which is coming out this year in September as well. People have forgotten about this. Spiders is one of my favorite AA RPG makers out there, and they are coming out with Steel Rising. This is that where you kind of play that marionette. It's set back in like 14th, 15th century France, but it's kind of futuristic as well. And you play a marionette with AI kind of that's wrapped up in this whole resistance battle during a revolution. And you're kind of being used as a pawn, as a weapon. It's got Devil May Cry type battle mechanics to it. From the looks of it, great boss battles. They showed off more of the RPG. There's skill trees and stuff involved. That is looking better and better. And again, that comes out in September. I know a lot of people are excited for Lord of the Rings Gollum. Look, they've redone the whole entire game after they showed it a couple years ago. And everybody went, what is this? I don't like it. They went back and redid it. I'm still not interested in it, even as a giant Lord of the Rings fan. But I know a lot of people in this community are. It's going to be a stealth action title. They've redone the graphics, much more colorful, vibrant kind of color palette, different environments. Gandalf is in it. There was a small little tiny snip of Gandalf, which is awesome. The Ring Wraiths are in it as well. So this is going to be a full Lord of the Ring experience. So that was very cool. Hell is Us. Hard to explain this game, but you got to go watch the video. We saw a little bit of it previously. They showed more of it this time. They talked with the developer. He's big on exploration and discovery, heavily focused on the melee combat. Again, high action kind of combat, but you got to go check out Hell is Us. And then we got a couple more PC games coming to console, which we don't expect. Crown Wars, The Black Prince, and Raven's Watch. Both of those are coming from PC and going on console, and both of those are really cool. Crown Wars is actually a squad-based tactical RPG, and Raven's Watch is going to be a roguelite, but it's co-op with up to 4 players. And in Raven's Watch, they are bringing in some fairy tale and mythology characters that you're going to be able to play as, like Red Riding Hood, Beowulf, those type. Pied Piper is going to be in there. So that one is going to be awesome. And then they did show off or talk about, they didn't really show off gameplay, which I was hoping for, but Fuzzy touched on it earlier. We should see something soon. But they did go into Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown a little bit and explain kind of what they're going for. That's from KT Racing, who does the WRC series. Listen, they're not going to do WRC anymore. They're making the last WRC game this year, but they are working on Test Drive Unlimited, and they focused on the cars, and they said they want the cars to be the main thing about the game. It's the most important part. They said when you fall in love with a car, it becomes part of who you are. And that's what they're focused on, is making sure the cars are right. But they did talk about they're going to have off-road driving, on-road driving. They're going to have an online competitive mode, and they're going to have an offline competitive mode with kind of like mini bosses or, rivals, where you're going to have to beat out your rivals and stuff. So that is looking awesome. I can't wait to actually see gameplay, but set in Hong Kong. They're going to have night and day driving. It looks absolutely beautiful from the city setting, obviously. Huge map. So that's going to be really cool. And then they ended the show. The last thing I'll talk about, they ended the show with another surprise, a new Terminator game out of the blue. Now, this was just a straight teaser, so all we got is a first-gen Terminator kind of breaking through a wall or whatever and standing there with the music in the background, right? But then it came out afterwards that this is going to be an open-world survival game for Terminator, and it's going to be think about that. What's scarier than having to, we got Aliens, right? Aliens, obviously. Isolation, that was freaking scary. I can't play that game. But listen, what else is more scary than a Terminator trying to track you down, right? So open world survival set in between Judgment Day and the formation of John Connor's rebellion. So be on the lookout for that one. Yeah, it's going to be pretty damn cool, I think. So that's high on my list now. So yeah, that was some of the highlights from NACON.
Okay, so it looks like I got to go back and watch some of the trailers.
You do. Go back and watch those trailers. It was a great show. Like I said, had that been during E3, not E3, Mav and I talked about this on Thursday on PM in the PM. It probably would have been a top 3 show for both of us had it been shown during E3, not E3. That's how great it was. Out of the blue, unexpected. Really cool.
Nice. Awesome. I definitely got to go back on YouTube and watch some of those. So I think we're going to take maybe one more question, 2 more, depending on where we're at, if we have any, or maybe there's anything that we missed. Yeah, you're right, Ray. Golden Age of Gaming. Once again, that's a
Ray,
$1
billion.
It. Yeah, come on now. So let's see.
I expect that $50 check, Ray. It's $100 if you say it live. It's $50 if you put it in chat. So just send me the $50 check.
Yeah,
right?
Pong don't do anything for free. We still renegotiating his contract here at the Shop Podcast. So
wait. You will get paid? Wow.
Well, you think Pong is showing up for free? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. No, but once again, you guys are awesome. Shout out to chat. You guys are amazing. Yeah, open world survival. Terminator sounds great. That's not even something I would have put together at all, right? Like that's not something I would have ever thought of, but it sounds super freaking intriguing to me. I never would have even considered that idea. And it's a perfect like world, right? That you can do that in. Like it's perfect. I don't know why anybody hasn't done that sooner. Like that's crazy. So let's see if we got anything else that I'm missing here in chat. Anything that I missed, if I can go back. I think shout out to Ashtray. I think he wanted to ask. He asked me about the game. What is it? The GameStop layoffs. I believe. I think they laid off about 25%. Let me see.
Tough week over there.
Yeah, tough week at GameStop. I didn't really read the article, so I can't really go into detail as to kind of everything. Shout out to as well, Game and Forte. I know we the entire community checked on him because he works for GameStop.
Yeah.
But then so he's doing well. Once again, if you guys know Forte, just super known in the community, awesome guy, plays with everybody, huge Destiny fan. But yeah, he was unaffected by it, so he's good. He's still working and everything like that, so all is well there. But I don't know, Pong, if you had done any, looked into it at all. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was all over the place. It was, it was an awful day. Again, I think a lot of us probably can feel for anybody who goes through this. I think most of us have had some point in our lives where this has happened to us out of the blue at a job. It's a very scary time. So shout out to everybody. I know that some of it was in corporate. Some of the higher ups did get let go. They kind of downsized corporate. And then Game Informer, of course, their magazine. That's again, they had a lot of layoffs over there. A lot of great people that have been around Game Informer for a while got let go as well. Not a total shutdown, obviously a closing of doors or anything like that. But a sad day, to say the least, for a lot of employees over there, a lot of people who were not expecting it, and hopefully they all find jobs soon, obviously. And like I said, just a lot of great people. So it was a tough day, but not totally unexpected. I mean, obviously GameStop is having its issues. They, again, with the way we were just talking about the digital age, that kind of was, it was kind of a warning sign to GameStops, again, because there's just no way to trade in digital, which we all assumed or talked about that there could be a possibility of that at some point, trading in your digital games. There's ways that could be done. Xbox had ideas about that for the Xbox One generation. But without that, really, GameStop is just, unfortunately, it's kind of over the hill at this point for where we're going in the new age. So unfortunately. Because I used to work at Funkoland before it was GameStop. So I've been a part of that family. So, it's sad to see it happen.
Yeah. All right. So once again, shout out and prayers and thoughts to everybody, that it did affect, from executives on down. So hopefully, these people can find, their footing back again. So, obviously we want to wish the best of luck to all of them. So actually, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up on that note. But once again, chat, it has been an amazing show. I saw a lot of new faces here. Shout out to everybody who came out and supported our guest, Doomy, a.k.a. Doom Cutie. I will let her, kind of go around and just, remind everybody where they can find her. But I do want to say here, from being a host of the show, Doomy, you've been amazing. Thank you for coming on. I know the time difference is kind of crazy. It did work out, though, so that's awesome. I'm glad it's not like 4 a.m. or like 3 a.m. or something for you. So it could have been a lot worse. So I'm glad it worked out when it did. But once again, chat, if you are a fan of the show here, do me a favor, go follow her. Go follow her. The link tree, I believe, is down in the description. So that's kind of a link way to go find all of her socials. So please go do that. You guys are amazing. But Doomy, once again, thank you from all of us here on the panel. And I'm sure the fellas will also let you know about that. But thank you for me personally for hanging out, accepting my invite on the show. And you're part of the family now. So you never know when I'll reach out again and yeah, you're part of the family now.
Thank you so much. No, I've had a great time on the show. Each and every one of you. And once again, happy birthday, Fuzzy. I hope it's been a great day. Thank you so much for letting me be here. I love connecting with the community, and especially on these podcasts. Everyone has such a barrel of knowledge, like everyone just has such great takes, and I love the banter. I love it. So yes, anytime I will come on. And thank you so much, chat. Thanks for everyone that came along to listen to me talk with these guys. Clearly this is a fantastic show, and if you're not following all of these guys, then go ahead and give them some love from me. So thank you so much. And if you go to my link tree, you'll find everywhere that you can find me.
Awesome. And once again, chat, I'm sure you guys enjoyed her being here. So let us know. Once again, thank you, Doomy, as well. You've been amazing. Super knowledgeable, super fair. We appreciate that. Once again, had a ball having you on. So Pong, we're gonna throw this to you, bro, Mr. Pong Harvey. Once again, everybody know where they can find you, G.
Absolutely fantastic night. First of all, Doomy, an absolute pleasure. Honor to have you on. Thank you for bringing your different perspective and your great takes and your knowledge as well. Again, that's one of the best parts about doing this stuff is hearing other people from all over, all walks of life come in and talk about their experiences and how they see things in our favorite industry, which is, of course, video games. And so just absolutely amazing to have you here and a pleasure. So yes, please do come back and see us again. That would be amazing. But otherwise, brothers PTK, Fuzzy, you both know what it is. I love you both. And this is just an awesome time to spend with you, obviously, on every Saturday night. So thank you again for a great show. And chat, You guys were absolutely incredible. Other Zinc, you kept it a little quiet tonight, brother. I did see a couple early hot takes from you. I'd have to scroll back, but man, I was expecting some more hot takes, but we did not talk Kojima tonight, so
Yeah,
I didn't
we
get a
didn't
hot
get into
take from
that.
you. No, we didn't get into that. So, and I didn't take the easy route by just throwing them out there randomly. So, but that's okay, Other Zinc. We got next week. We'll try again, all right? But no, thank you all, chat. We nothing but respect and love for all of you coming through all of our shows, no matter where it's at, no matter how many shows you spend listening to. It is so vital. It is why we do what we do, and your support is so greatly appreciated. And on that note, for anybody still here, please do keep Assassin Lupa in your thoughts, prayers, hopes, dreams, wishes, energies, whatever it is that you believe in, as she did get through a very high risk 18-hour open brain surgery earlier this week. But this weekend was going to be a big time for her, according to the doctors, and Mav had put out an update earlier this week about that. So please continue to send all the love her way. She needs it. She is just a fantastic human being, phenomenal person who is just a bright light in this community and just in this world. So please continue to do that for us. Appreciate all of you that have been doing that this whole time. Otherwise, you can find me Pong Soul Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. Follow me, I'll follow you back. You guys all know the drill there. Otherwise, next week, Tuesday, Xbox Factor. I don't know if I'm going to be there this week, but Mr. Boomstick, of course, it's Double Barrel Gaming. You all know Mr. Boomstick, the man. You're going to get all good things green on Tuesdays at Xbox Factor. He's added more people, including Infinite Umbra, to the panel. So no matter how many of us can't be there because of real life, he's always going to have a full panel now. So please drop in there, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, every Tuesday over on Double Barrel Gaming, and you're going to have a great show. Thursdays, it's PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. That's on Fun Speculations channel. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, two-man show. Sometimes we have guests. Otherwise, you're just going to get me and Mav. We chop it up with the chat as well, just like PTK does here. We get you guys involved. Come on over. It's a great Thursday night. Him and I are going to go for 2.5 hours, sometimes 3, depending on the topics. But it's a fantastic way to spend your Thursday night. And then Friday, you just get right back on Fun Speculations channel for Xbox Ultimate. That's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. You know us over there on Xbox Ultimate. Fuzzy's there now every single week. He's part of the fam. Listen, we go left, we go up, we go down, we go every which way. You never know what you're going to hear on that show, but it's going to be a fun time. So be there. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, it's Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and I sitting down with you for 3+ hours. We've been going 4 every week. We did it again this morning. So just come in. You don't have to stay the entire time. Go do some chores. Come back. We're still there. Neil Game Spark. Shout out to Neil. He jumped in early. Came back 2.5 hours later. He's like, you guys are still on. Yes, we're still on. That's how we do it on Living Split Screen. So it starts at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time, BST time, whatever they call it over there. Listen, we're going to have a great time every Saturday morning. Otherwise, I'll be back here next weekend, God willing, for the Shop Podcast, of course. Listen, it is the golden age of gaming. Get out there, enjoy it. Non-stop content dropping in, whether it's Game Pass, whether you're buying your games, it does not matter. There's so much to play right now. Please get out there and enjoy it. Play what you love what you play. I'm going to talk to you all real soon.
Shout out to you, Pong. Once again, find Pong all over the place, man. Go follow him on Twitter. That's going to be the easiest way to keep up with Pong. But, man, he's a battery of the podcast. Couldn't do this without him. Always brings the energy, brings everybody up here on the show, keeps things hype, man. The hype level is always good when Pong is here. So shout out to you, bro. Last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man, keeping it smooth on more shows now, So
Yeah.
find Fuzzy all over the place too. But let everybody know where they can find you, G.
Well, just want to thank Doomkey for being on here tonight. It was awesome having you on here and hearing your thoughts and takes on things. So definitely look forward to you making a return visit here in the future. For all of those that want to hear my random takes on anything gaming related, always follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on FSP on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Breakfast with Boom on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right back here with my family with PTK and Pong at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Shop Podcast. Thank you guys for coming out. The chat was awesome tonight.
Appreciate it. And last but not least, the host at the most here at the Shop Podcast, your boy PTK Blam. Catch me on Twitter. Poll of the week on Mondays. Follow me there to keep up with all things Shop Podcast, all things here is going on with the panel. Once again, a new guest next week. You guys have been freaking amazing. Chat was super crazy. Lots of new people. So subscribe, like, go watch the previous video. All of that's down in the description as well. So I appreciate you guys. As Pong said, enjoy your weekend. Play tons of video games, relax, and have fun, man. But we'll see you guys next week. Peace out, everybody.
Happy birthday, Fuzzy.
Thank you.
Hey!
Thank you.